Hi everyone, it's Tasha. Welcome back to my channel. I'm thrift shopping and I'm on the hunt looking for earthy, transitional style home decor. My goal is to create high-end decor moments in our home while paying a lot less than retail. Come on and join me for this thrift and DIY challenge. Well, hello out there. Let's hit the thrift shops and see what we can find on this beautiful late summer, almost fall week. I am looking at basically all of the home goods sort of things, as well as the furniture, not so much the clothes this week at all, but I'm finding some really beautiful pieces. This is a mixture of thrift stores. I really love this pie plate. It was $12.50, so let me know if you think I should have gotten it. I couldn't commit to it at the time. I thought it was a little high, but it was really, really beautiful. I love to look at the wooden and woven sections of the thrift shops. I really like this little wall basket. It was kind of an oval shape. It was $3.99, which must have been the price of the day because I kept seeing things for $3.99 at this particular thrift store. I also came across this awesome piece. This was so heavy I thought I might drop it, but it was $4.99 and it is just so heavy. When I looked up close at the tag, it said that it was onyx stone, and I don't know, but it was just really awesome. If the colors had been perfect for our home, I would have definitely picked it up because, as you can see, marble and other natural stones and travertines and such, these tissue box holders can go for a lot more than $5 for sure. It looks here like someone donated their entire sparkly Steve Madden shoe collection, which I thought was interesting. And I also like this little ceramic pitcher for $2.99. It definitely looks like it was handmade by someone. I thought that this lamp had a really nice shape and it could easily be flipped and made over with a little bit of rub and buff to take some of the yellow out of the gold. I like the arch neck on it as well as the shade. It was $9.99. And this lamp also caught my eye with the ribbing at the top and the bottom and the texture. I thought that it was a really nice lamp and could also be a really great flip project. These baskets were $6.99 each, and I thought that they were a good deal as well, maybe for some storage under the bed. And I also like to cast an eye over the furniture section even when I'm not particularly looking for furniture pieces. This one was really beautiful, I thought, for around $50, as well as this little marble table. This has a marble top and casters on the feet, so I did think that it was a pretty good deal for the $59.99 that they were asking for it. The only trouble was it did have some staining there on the left. You can see some kind of darker circles in it. They might come out with like magic eraser. Have had luck with that before, but not sure. Another furniture piece that I thought was a really good deal was this little sideboard for $34.99. It had kind of a cute and classic shape, and I thought that it could be good storage for a little nook around the house where you might need just a little cabinet for something or another. I also love to look at ceramics and stoneware, as you know, so this was a pretty good deal for the $4.99. And this would make a great vessel for a DIY candle. And these chairs also caught my eye. These are definitely a mid-century style with this Windsor style back, and the little piece down the center for the accent is just really cool too. I was surprised to see that these were only $6.99 each at Goodwill. Now one is starting to wear where that finish is worn off a lot on one and not the other, so they would need to be made over, but I thought they were a good deal. So this is what I brought home from the thrift shops this week. First of all, and this is a very utilitarian piece, but I wanted to show you, I picked this up for $5 at a yard sale. This rolling cooler with this handle, they go for about $40 online, so I thought 5 was a great deal. Next, I picked up this coffee table book from a thrift shop for only 50 cents. The cover and the content really caught my eye on this. I love ballet. I love looking at pictures of ballet. It's very beautiful, and so this one was a nice size, and the kicker for me was that it had a really beautiful, rich black cover and linen with a really pretty gold stamping, so I picked this one up for sure. Coffee table books are a must when you're styling with any sort of transitional style. You see these in designer photos all the time, and so this is how I styled mine right here in our front living room. I think it's a great deal. I also picked up this little wooden hand-carved duck. Now, I don't have a lot of things in my home like this, but this guy just kind of caught my eye. I just think I like something about him. He's so unique. He has plenty of cracks and character, and you've all seen it McGee & Co. at this point, I'm sure. She decorates with ducks kind of a lot. You can see here that she has 2 prints that are $200 each with these ducks, and then also this Zella Swan, which is $78. My little guy was only $4.99, and I think that he has just as much character as these pieces for a lot less money. I also picked up this little writing desk. Now this was $14.99. It was missing a little knob on the drawer on the front, but otherwise in really good shape. Now the top of this desk is a veneer piece, and then the bottom is solid wood. I'm going to be doing a paint technique over the whole thing rather than trying to sand it down and restain it with a veneer piece. I'm just not experienced enough with doing that over veneer to do it well, I think. So I'm going to be using a paint technique on the whole thing that makes it look like faux wood. And I'm giving the whole desk a nice light sanding just so that the paint will stick, including the veneer. Then I'm going in with a paint color called Antler Velvet by Sherwin-Williams. This is a nice background color if you're going to be doing the faux wood treatment that I'm going to show you. Once that is completely dry, and I did not wait long enough on this piece, so you'll see what goes wrong if you don't wait completely until it's cured. You should just wait until the next day. But the next step is to put on this gloss. So this is called Rust-Oleum Decorative Glaze in the color Java Brown. I put it on there with a chip brush first, and then went over it with a deck brush, and then lastly a little whisk broom. And you can see on the bottom how it's kind of smeary, and that's because the paint was dry to the touch but not completely dry, so I had to go back and fix that later. But it gives you a pretty good like faux wood grain look, and it's a very easy technique as long as you wait long enough in between the steps. So I'm going to be bringing that up to my daughter's bedroom to make like a little desk and coloring and writing corner for her. And I picked up this little vintage desktop organizer for $3.50 from a different thrift shop, and I'm going to be using this to sort just some really simple coloring books and crayons here for her little space. The coloring books just so happen to fit perfectly in the back part, and there's plenty of little compartments here for crayons as well. This chair I actually picked up at the same thrift store as the desk in a different area. It was only $5, and I gave it a coat of black matte paint to finish it off. The last thing I need is to replace that missing knob, so I just made a trip to Lowe's to find something, and I went ahead and sprung for this $4.48 knob, which brings my total to the desk to just under $20, including the knob, and then the chair was $5. I think that this is a very sweet little spot. With a print and a lamp that we already owned. It's perfect for her to just sit and work on her coloring. Now another thing that I'm going to be adding to her bedroom this week is this beautiful 7-foot olive tree by Real Lead. They were kind enough to send this over to me to show you, and so here it is. It is really a beautiful tree. I love how realistic looking this is. I love the color and tone of the leaves on this tree, and I also really like the shape of it. So the first thing that I'm doing after I remove it from the packaging is to go in and shape it by hand and just make it look a little more full and realistic. You always want to do that and don't want to skip that step on any faux plant or stem or tree. So I'm just placing it in this little scalloped pot that I found at TJ Maxx, which I think is perfect for her room. I love the scallop detail, and I'm filling in around the base of the tree with some crumpled up newspaper, just so that I don't have to use quite as much of this Spanish moss to fill in the pot. I get this off of Amazon and I can link it below as well. I think that this is the perfect touch in her bedroom. I love it here beside the bed just to add a kind of rustic and whimsical and charming touch to the room. I really like the shape of this tree, as I already mentioned, and in particular I like the fact that the trunk of the tree is bifurcated and not just a single trunk going up. I think that that makes it look more interesting and more realistic, so I would highly recommend this one to check it out, and I will link it for you below. Now, another thing I picked up from the thrift shops this week is this beautiful two-handled vase. Now, when I say beautiful, I really like the shape of this, and that's why I got it. As you can see, it was $5.99 at a thrift shop. I wasn't crazy about the green accents and the overall color scheme, so I'm going to be doing a DIY makeover on it, but I thought that the shape was absolutely perfect, and the price was definitely right for me to buy it for a DIY. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is adding a solid coat of a creamy white color to this. Now don't worry, I'm not stopping there, but this is me adding the white color to be the background for this. And then I'm going to go in and add some sort of distressing and some aging with some other paint colors after this layer dries. Next, I'm going in with this color called Loggia by Sherwin-Williams and adding a little bit of black to it just to darken it up slightly. So I'm going to be doing 2 layers of distressing on this vase, and this is the first step. I'm just going in after my first layer has completely dried and adding this with a little bit of crumpled paper towel. I'm especially focusing around the edges and those crevices where the different lines and patterns are. It's places where dirt would normally gather and things would begin to naturally look more weathered. Even with just adding this coat by itself, this piece starts to come to life a little bit more and look more aged instead of just a painted white vase. I think it looks pretty good like this, so you could stop here if you wanted to. It kind of looks like concrete at this stage, but I'm going to be going in with another layer. This is some watered down brown colored paint. This color is, I believe, called Melted Chocolate, but with this I'm using a wet paper towel, and I'm getting my paper towel pretty good and wet, and this is going to be my last layer, and I'm just dabbing this all over with the watered down brown color. You could use any similar brown that you have. This is really going to mimic that aged and dirty look that I'm going for to try and make this a really rustic looking pot. Again, I'm mostly focusing on the edges around those divots and ridges. However, I am doing a little bit all over the rest of the vase as well. And I just have a dry paper towel in the other hand so that I can go back and dab some of that off in places where it's gone on a little darker than I want to. So I'm just working back and forth between applying and paper toweling it off until I get the desired look. Now I've finished up, and this is what it looks like in the end. When I do a Google image search for my final pot, I can see that it's comparing it to some much more expensive pots, so I think that that is a good indication that I've achieved the style that I was looking for, and it's just something I like to do. It makes me feel good about my end result. So here it is where I'm styling it on this little black sideboard table in my dining room, and I'm just putting in some stems I got from Hobby Lobby. And here is the final result. I think that this was well worth the $6 and the little bit of time that it took me to remake this vase. I think that this is a really pretty piece to add to my collection. Now, the last thing that I want to share with you that I picked up from the thrift shops this week is this really cool vintage metal storage box. When I opened it up, I discovered that it's like an archival film storage box where you would keep the photo slides, and I think that this is just a super cool piece and very unique. It's in great shape, and it also is a great color in this soft green tone brass. Now, when we look at designer sites, we can definitely see that there's lots of different storage boxes. There are definitely metal ones that are popular at McGee & Co. as well. These can go for a lot, and this particular vintage one actually sells for about $40 on Etsy, but you can style this, as you can see, in a bedroom, on a shelf, really anywhere. You can layer it with coffee table books for a really cool piece for your decor. That about wraps up today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit like, hit subscribe, and leave me a comment letting me know what you enjoyed. In the meantime, have a great week, and I will see you at the next video.